फिर आरंभे
प्रेरा
करी
आरंभे
मंगलाचरण
करी मंगलाचरण
गुरु वैष्णव भगवान तीनेर स्मरण.
गुरु वैष्णव
गुरु
भगवान
वैष्णव भगवान
तिनेरा
तीन
स्मरण.
रात स्मरण.
Translation:
In,
in the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions.
Hari Hari, this is very important. We sing every morning. We sing. Dhyayan stuam stasya yashastri sandhyam vande guru shri charanar vindam. So we remember three sandhya. We perform three sandhya. In three sandhya, always the spiritual master is invoked. So spiritual master is not an ordinary person. In fact, it's an offense to consider him an ordinary person. Spiritual master is a representative of Krishna. He is as good as Krishna. The supreme personality of servitor Godhead, he is called. The devotees of the Lord, they are expansions of the Lord, so they are also to be honored and worshipped. And of course, the Lord Himself, because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And by simply remembering them, their benedictions are invoked. You know, what we say, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha. Patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So, kalpataru, they are kalpataru, they are wish fulfilling trees. They are kripa sindhu, they are oceans of mercy. And Patita Nam Pavan. They are Patit Pavan. So they are always deliverer of the fallen souls. So of course a Vaishnava never considers himself to be a Patit Pavan or or Vancha or Kalpataru or anything. Vaishnava should always understand, like a Vaishnava thinks. He understands that his position is deplorable, that he is in this material world. Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravarshaitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam. So this world is shunya without Krishna, and we are not seeing Krishna. So Vaishnava should always cultivate that mood, but at the same time, he should understand that this whole setup of bhakti, in the form of the spiritual master, the Vaishnavas, the temples, the deities, everything is a setup created by Krishna to deliver him only. Therefore, he should feel very thankful for everything. So even if a person on the street is saying Hare Krishna, we respect him because he's reminding us of Krishna. So he is acting as an agent of Krishna, so we respect him as much. Hmm. Tinera smarane haya vigna vinashana.
तिनेरा
तीन स्मरण
स्मरणे
है विघ्न
हय
विनाशिनी.
विघ्न विनाशन.
अनायासे हय निज वांछिता पूर्ण.
नायसे हय
अनायश
निज
है निज
वांछित
वांछित
पुराण.
पुराण. Translation. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desire. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes. So it destroys all difficulties. So now one may think that I have been serving Vaishnava, serving the deities, and what my problem life is still so problematic. What is the problem? Maybe Krishna is not. Maybe Krishna's glories are exaggerated or something. So one should not think like this, because by remembering Krishna and Vaishnavas and Guru, our material nature is vanquished. The source of our problems is not some sinful reaction or anything. It is simply the presence of material nature. That's why we are suffering here. So by remembrance of Vaishnavas, these sufferings are mitigated. We are able to forget the material nature. We can only concentrate on Krishna. Therefore, eventually all our difficulties will be destroyed. So this illusion of material nature is getting destroyed. That's why it says that remembrance destroys all difficulties. Because the real difficulty is the illusion that there is anything good in this material world.
What about enables one to fulfill his own desires? This is about all our transcendental desires.
Yes. नष्टो मोह स्मृतिर्लब्ध्वा त्वत्प्रसादात्मयाच्युत स्थितोऽस्मि गतसन्देह करिष्ये वचनं तव. Arjun is saying. So smritirlabdha, nashto moha smritirlabdha. So illusion is destroyed and memory is regained. So naturally the spiritual desires are fulfilled.
Thank you.
See, let's take this example. Prabhu, in this material world, we lose a loved one and we are very miserable. Loss of mother and father is very difficult for everyone. And one is in pain. But when we attain our spiritual memory, we realize that Radha and Krishna are our real parents. So there is no lamentation. Krishna doesn't grow old, Radharani doesn't grow old. They don't become sick, they don't die. So there is no question of lamentation. Therefore, desires are fulfilled. What is the desire in this life? Our desire, what is Arjun lamenting? Arjun is lamenting the fact that he'll kill all his relatives. He's complaining that, what use will be this kingdom? What use will be the wealth if everyone is dead already? What will we enjoy? So relationships are the real happiness in this material world. So that is fulfillment of desire. So if the relationship is permanent, it is not going to die or anything, then that desire is permanently fulfilled. One is permanently happy. Yes. Text 22. से मंगलाचरण हय त्रिविध प्रकार
से
ते
मंगलाचरण
मंगलाचरण है
त्रिविध
त्रिविध
प्रकार
प्रकार
वस्तु निर्देश आशीर्वाद नमस्कार.
वस्तु निर्देश
देश
आशीर्वाद
आशीर्वाद
नमस्कार.
नमस्कार. Translation. The invocation involves three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances.
So defining the objective. Vastu Nirdesh, defining the objective, the Supreme Lord, attainment of the Supreme, offering benedictions and offering obeisances. So here he has offered us benedictions and he's offering obeisances also. We offer obeisances, we offer benedictions. So both is done. Of course, we don't think that we are qualified, but offering the holy name itself is the biggest benediction. प्रथम द्वि श्लोके इष्ट देव नमस्कार.
Prabhuji, एक doubt. I am sorry.
Yeah.
Defining the objective, can you please elaborate on that? Because normally when we start with our satsang programs or any satsangs, we start with Om Agyana Timirandasya and then we stop with this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So those entire 7 or 8, that is what we call as Mangalacharan prayers. So usme where is it we are defining the objective in that per se?
When we say Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmaya Shri Gurave Namah. So he opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances to him. Then we are worshipping, then we are remembering the Supreme Lord. So when we say Hare Krishna, that's the objective. Because eventually all our satsang, we are talking about the mantra and everything related to the mantra, Krishna Katha. So that's defining the objective.
Remembering Krishna is objective. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's our only objective. There is no other objective of our satsang.
Yeah, sure.
Like Prabhupada said, spiritual life is very simple. Yes, Prabhu. Let's continue.
What is the meaning of offering benedictions and offering obeisances? Offering obeisances,
Yeah, offering
I understand. Offering benediction to this is not our role.
There will be all classes of devotees, junior, senior. So we are offering benedictions also. If there is some junior, he says Dandvat Pranam Prabhu. He says, okay, may Lord Krishna be pleased with you. May Srila Prabhupada be pleased with you. We are offering benedictions. And when there is a senior devotee, we are offering our obeisances.
But how is that involved in invocation?
So, how is that involved in invocation? See, Prabhu, the whole process of invocation itself is a benediction. When we are offering obeisances, we are remembering the Supreme Lord. We are offering benedictions also, because what is the greatest benediction? The chanting of the holy names. So that is automatically, we are offering obeisances to the Lord. At the same time, it becomes a benediction to all those who are listening. That's why we are doing Nagar Sankirtan. Actually, according to Smartha process, strict Vedic process, mantras are never meant to be chanted. They are meant to be silently recited. But Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the only mantra which can be done as a kirtan.
Correct. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it separate process itself.
Yes, so Lord himself has agreed. So I
Other
was just researching actually. So around 4 sampradayas have accepted Mahaprabhu as Krishna himself. I mean, Nimbarka and Rudra Sampradaya also accept Mahaprabhu as Krishna. So only the Lord himself can change the purport of a mantra.
But one thing is that, like, of course, Hare Krishna mantra is recited separately. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu altered the mantra, the actual Vedic mantra being Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But we see all these Vedic rituals are there, samskaras are there. There the mantras are recited loudly only, na? So I'm not able to understand like which mantras are recited in the very slowly or very at low pitch, and which are the mantras which can be recited loudly.
Yeah, that's a lot of, like, even I have not been able to understand fully which mantras are quiet and which ones are. So there are very specific mantras which should be recited openly, very loudly. But some are supposed to be like worshipping mantras are, I think, meant to be recited very quietly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because even when we come across that incident of Ramanujacharya, na, like so that mantra which he receives uh,
Hmm.
from his Guru Maharaj, Om Namo
Hmm.
Narayana. So
Hmm.
he said that he climbs the top of a tower and he recites it loudly for the benefit of all the people.
Hmm.
So then he is chastised. Why are you speaking loudly? This is a mantra which has to be spoken softly. It is not for all.
Yeah, he said, no, this is like a top secret mantra. Don't reveal it to anyone.
Correct.
This will deliver you from material nature. So he went to the top of the spire and he started shouting.
So that everybody gets the benefit. Why, like that exhibited the magnanimous nature of Ramanujacharya at that time. Like pure
Hmm.
devotee of the Lord cannot hide this in secret. They
Yeah.
immediately want to share this love of God to everybody. So in
Yes.
the same line, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opens this treasure to everybody. So definitely, Smarta Brahman will have an objection to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the present day Mahamantra in this form. Say this.
I mean, Smartha Brahmanas are not wrong, but the age is now totally different. You can't be a smart in this age. Everything is corrupted.
Okay, bro.
Yes. So we continue. Text 23.
So when we
Prathama
say,
Dui Shloke East.
sorry to interrupt you. So when we say,
Huh.
when we say something like all glories to Lord Krishna or something like that, so that those are something like benedictions or like these are like glorification.
Glorification, benediction, both, because we are specifically referring to Mangalacharan.
Okay, got it, bro. Hare Krishna.
Because here, so if we see all these verses are Mangalacharan here.
Hmm.
Glory to Sri Chaitanya Nityananda, Shriman Rasarasarambhi, then there is Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada, Jayatam Surta Upangor. Because here I don't see any him offering benedictions to anyone really.
Ah, so that was that little doubt when we sing our Mangalacharan, it is more about glorifying and remembering them.
Yeah.
Yes, bro. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
23rd shloka.
Yes. प्रथम द्वि श्लोके इष्टदेव नमस्कार
प्रथम द्वि श्लोके इष्टदेव नमस्कार
नमस्कार
सामान्य विशेष रूपे द्वित प्रकार.
सामान्य विशेष रूपे
रूपे
द्वित प्रकार.
प्रकार.
So here you see, Prabhu. Yeah, please read translation. Then there's something very interesting.
Translation: the first two verses offer respectful obeisances, generally and specifically to the Lord, who is the object of worship.
So here in text number 24, 25, he's already explaining what is the benediction here. So here he says, you see, Prabhu, text 4 is where benediction is offered here. This one.
Text 4.
Anarpita charim chirat karunya vatirnam kalau. May that Lord who is known as sons of Srimati Shachi Devi be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart.
Text 4 of this chapter.
Yeah, 4th of this chapter he has offered.
Okay. Correct.
So we can also take it that, Prabhu, it's a general etiquette to offer benedictions also. We can't just go on offering obeisances and not give benediction to anyone.
Okay. This one. Anarpita Charutam.
Yeah. Karunaya, yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
तृतीय श्लोके ते करी वस्तुर निर्देश.
तृतीय श्लोके करी वस्तुर निर्देश.
यहाँ हैते जानी पर तत्वेरा उद्देश्य.
यरा हैते जानी पर तत्वेरा
उद्देश्य. Translation. In the third verse, I indicate the absolute truth, who is the ultimate substance. With such a description, one can visualize the supreme truth.
Yeah. So चतुर्थ श्लोके ते करी जगते आशीर्वाद.
चतुर्थ श्लोके करी जगते
आशीर्वाद.
सर्वत्र मागिये कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रसाद.
सर्वत्र मागिये कृष्ण चैतन्य
प्रसाद.
Translation: in the fourth verse, I have invoked the benediction of the Lord upon all the world, praying to Lord Chaitanya for his mercy upon all. Okay.
So benediction also has to be offered, but in our case, we just chant the Maha Mantra. That is the benediction, because we don't do such an elaborate Mangalacharan.
Yeah. The pure devotees of the Lord, on behalf of the Lord, they are giving the benediction. We can understand like that.
Yeah, I mean, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was benedicted by Nityanand Prabhu himself. So he was blessed directly. So he's in a position to offer this benediction.
Yes.
26. सेई श्लोके कही बाह्य अवतार कारण.
सेई श्लोके कही बाह्य अवतार कारण.
पंचषष्ठ श्लोके कही मूल प्रयोजन.
पंचषष्ठ श्लोके कही मूल प्रयोजन.
So in that verse, so text 4, he has already explained the external reason for appearance of the Lord. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant spiritual knowledge of the mellow or taste of his service. So he is offering a benediction and also explaining the purpose, external appearance, purpose for the appearance of the Supreme Lord. And in the 5th and 6th verse, the internal reason. So that he has merged his identity with Radharani and he has come to relish the taste of his own devotional service. That is the internal reason.
So when they are saying, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying in that verse, which is this verse being referred?
Text 4.
Text 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Prabhu, this is one thing that I would like to warn you. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a very intense scripture. A lot of references are internal, so you have to keep doing back and forth.
Mhm.
Chaitanya Charitamrita that way is very nice. Like it engages you completely. Your full intellect is engaged in understanding. And it should be read more like a poetic story or a poetical story, like in the sense that it's a story being told, but it's all in a poetry form. So, like, put on your poet cap here and remove the engineering cap.
True. That
Think
is
like a romantic artist.
Mhm.
We are discussing, like, what Shakespeare would describe. We are discussing a great tragedy.
Hmm.
Because why I call it tragedy is because here we are discussing Viraha Bhav, separation from Krishna. That is whole Mahaprabhu's mood. आई नंद तनुज किंकरम पतितां मां विषमे भवाम बुधौ कृपया तव पाद पंकज स्थित धूलि सदृशम विचिंतया. So all, even Shiksha Ashtakam is only discussing all about separation from the Lord. Therefore, Chaitanya Charitamrita can be described as a great tragedy, even though it's the greatest benediction. So if you feel depressed after reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's like, objective served. If you feel pain and separation, because after studying Chaitanya Charitamrita, we should feel separation from both Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the whole mood of Narottam Das Thakur also, incidentally. Vipralambaras. So in this material world, if we can achieve that Vipralambha, that's the success of our life. Yes, Prabhu. Text 27. Oh, text 26. 26, Prabhu. We haven't done that. सेई श्लोके कही बाह्य अवतार कारण
तैः श्लोके कहि बाह्यावतार कारणं
पंचषष्ठ श्लोके कही मूल प्रयोजन.
पञ्चषष्ठ श्लोके कहि मूल प्रयोजन. Translation. In that verse, I have also explained the external reason for Lord Chaitanya's incarnation. But in the fifth and sixth verses, I have explained the prime reason for his advent. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in that verse, I also explained the truth about Lord Chaitanya. Whereas, but in the fifth and sixth verses, I have explained the prime reason for his appearance, for his advent. No, this is a subtlety, Prabhu. This is a bit of a subtlety because we are now discussing the mood of the Lord. So this is a very interesting point I had heard like maybe 25, 30 years ago. Radha Gopinath Prabhu had explained this very nicely. Bhagavad Gita is what the Lord said, Shrimad Bhagavatam is what the Lord did, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is what the Lord thought. So we are now getting into the heart of the Lord Himself. So therefore, Chaitanya Charitamrita should be understood in all seriousness with all concentration. Instructions we can hear, but when we are trying to understand somebody's mood, then our heart must be aligned. Like they say in this romantic poetry that the lovers' hearts are alike. So we should also be like that. We must, within our heart, we should focus on the feelings that the Lord experienced Himself. Then we'll be able to understand Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So actually, see, if we say that the Lord has appeared to preach the glories, Krishna says in the Gita, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That's correct. That's absolutely correct. But it leaves a little gap here, Prabhu. It means that the Lord is not satisfied. It would mean that primary mood of the Lord is dissatisfaction. Sambhavami yuge yuge, paritranaya sadhuna, vinashaya dushkratam, dharma sansthapanarthaya. Three reasons. That is external. But the Lord is Atmaram. So then there is a contradiction here. The Lord is Atmaram. How come he still needs to establish dharma? And why does he want to even establish dharma if he's Atmaram? So this is transcendental dissatisfaction that the Lord feels. He's Atmaram, but he wants more happiness. Therefore, his primary appearance, primary reason is experiencing the mood of Srimati Radharani. So in the 5th verse, he explains the first reason, that they have combined together. The two divine forms have combined together as the son of Shachi Devi to experience the happiness that Radharani feels, to experience the love she feels, and the happiness she derives by the transcendental qualities of Krishna. So that actually is the primary reason. Lord is always Atmaram, but he appears to experience his happiness. He just comes here to experience more happiness. Like if you watch a movie where there's a hero and heroine and they are romantic and then they are together, there is nothing there. It's nice, it's good, but there has to be some spice. So there will be some separation, some pain, some unhappiness. And then when they meet, so Sambhoga will have more enjoyment if there is Vipralambha. And that's the Leela of Krishna also. That's why gopis and Krishna are always getting separated. Because that separation increases the intensity of the desires that gopis perceive for the Supreme Lord. So these points will be explained more deeply in Chaitanya Charitamrita as we go further in Madhya and Antya Leela. Actually, Antya Leela is more dedicated to these topics.
तो प्रभु जी आपने बताए थे कि भगवत गीता इज व्हाट द लॉर्ड सेड, भागवतम इज व्हाट द लॉर्ड डिड,
Yes.
and Chaitanya Charitamrita is what he wanted. Am I right?
It is
What he thought.
What he thought, or what is the Lord's emotions.
Okay, because these are थोड़ा फटाका फोड़ रहा था, so I couldn't hear that properly. What he thought.
more the internal mood of the Lord.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's only 3 of us, Prabhu. We have not invited anybody else for this program. Because this requires a great deal of intensity. Somebody who has studied Gita and Bhagavatam can understand Chaitanya Charitamrita. Immediately one will become a Sahajya. And I'm not comfortable talking these topics in front of others also. Because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also warns us that if we express our emotions in front of those who are not confidential, then those emotions will be destroyed. That's why Sahajiyas eventually become Mayavadis. Because they have, by the mercy of Lord, they do experience some feelings for the Lord. But because they express it very cheaply in front of those who are atheistic, their own feelings are washed away by the tears they shed. And eventually they become hard-hearted. Because they have no experience left. And that's why we need to be very careful when we are preaching also. That's why Srila Prabhupada always preached about very basics. Try to understand God, serve Him, surrender to Him. Material world is miserable. Don't be attached to material nature. Prabhupada never spoke something very esoteric.
That's why the intimate Leelas of the Lord we cannot discuss in a general public forum. Just thinking that we may think it very superficial that ये तो सबका भला हो जाएगा. नहीं, भला नहीं होता है. हमारा भी पतन हो जाएगा, उनका भी पतन हो जाएगा.
हाँ, वो सहजिया बन जाएंगे, हम मायावादी बन जाएंगे.
So that's why like the whole preaching propaganda nowadays going is we are speaking the Leelas of the Lord to attract the masses. That doesn't work actually.
No. The Lord Himself never did that. Lord's Leelas are very confidential. Lord Himself never discussed them in public.
So Prabhu, then why in Bhagavad Gita it says Janma Karma Chame Divyam Yume Vyakti Tattvata Yaktadayam Punarjanma Netimam Soyati Arjuna. So that verse is speaking about the Janma Karma Chame Divyam, that is the birth and the pastimes of the Lord are transcendental. So Lord Himself is speaking there, right? So then why one should not discuss, or one should not read discuss or read on these things? So how to understand this thing?
Ah, yes, that's a very nice point, Prabhu. But there are subtleties. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvata tyaktva deham punarjanma niti mameti swarjuna. One who can understand this can come to me. One who can clear IIT, ISRO can become a rocket scientist. It's it's like that, you know. It's like that. So you clear ISRO, IIT, then try to become a rocket scientist. So to understand Janma and Karma of the Lord, we have to go through Bhagavad Gita. So to how do we understand karma? That's the whole process. Because Krishna goes on to speak, which is his fourth chapter, isn't it? Janma Karma Chame Divyam. So from there on, he continues to speak whole of Bhagavad Gita.
So it also means that we can understand how the janma and karma of the Lord is divyam, unless we understand how there is nothing divya about our janma and karma.
Correct. Yes. We are not Divya.
Unless we are 100% understanding that our birth and our activities are totally futile, totally useless, and the same with the Lord is so transcendental. If we are not able to see this contrast, then we will never be able to understand the Lord in tattva. Correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. So we have to understand Janma and Karma of Lord have to be understood. So for that, because Krishna speaks this, then he goes on to speak about Dhyan Yoga. Then he explains the nature of absolute. Then he speaks the whole 6 chapters on himself. Then he explains the 3 modes of nature and their effect. And then he talks about complete surrender. Like, we set the prayojan. Like we talk about Krishna, we say, Jayatam Surtao Pango, Mama Manda Mater Gati, Mat Sarvasva Padam Bhojao, Radha Madan Mohanao. Why are we saying Radha Madan Mohan? He is prayojan. Krishna is the objective. So we define the objective and then we follow through to that objective. So that follow through is something that we have to discuss now. So yes, so Krishna says, try to understand my nature. And then he also explains how to understand his nature. So that cannot be neglected. So simply because I want to understand the Lord doesn't mean that I have understood the Lord or that he is easy to understand.
How to understand? Krishna says, understand Bhagavad Gita then.
So Krishna says, Man manabhav mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru. He's defining the process. Sarva dharmana parityajya mama ekam sharanam braja. Not that, okay, I'll go to, I'll go to club in the morning, then I'll work for some time, then I'll do some exercise, play with my children, and then Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it is done. Even Premanand Maharaj says that, unless you have fully dedicated to Krishna, you cannot understand Krishna.
We may put a facade for our own understanding, and to others that, oh, we have responsibility and this and that, but most of the time we are actually captivated with that action itself. Either we like our profession very nicely, or we like the material activities also, we love those things, but it is not that we are doing it as an obligation or a duty. We are actually
Correct.
wishing those things what we do according to
Absolutely.
according to our modes. We are placed in those and we relish it. We have to be true to accept it. Like,
Yes.
so, but then and we do these activities for much part of our life, and our devotional service activities limited to very short span of time, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3-4 hours. That's all out of 24 hours.
Yes, Prabhu.
And
That's the right understanding. Unless there's exclusive, that's why Krishna is saying, always think of me. Mahaprabhu himself is saying that, when he's leaving the home of Kurma Brahman. Grahe rahi Krishna nama nirantar laiba. Jare dekha tare kaha Krishna Pradesh. Amara agya hai Guru tara hai desh. Kabhu na badhive tomara vishaya tarang. Punarapi ei thani pabe mura shanga. So always chant, always think of Krishna and preach. Always think of Krishna, always speak of Krishna. In this way, you will attain me very soon, or we will never part. But one must always think of Krishna. See, Prabhupada gives this example. When a boy and girl are in love with each other, they always think of each other. The boy may be driving a car, the girl may be cooking, but they are thinking of the paramour. So, if that stage of excitement we can feel after remembering Krishna, then this life is already successful. Then no sins, no piety, nothing can affect your progress. You are already beyond all of those. So, shall we continue? We can take one more verse. एछया श्लोके कही चैतन्येरा तत्व. आर पंच श्लोके नित्यानंदेरा महत्व.
Translation: in these 6 verses, I have described the truth about Lord Chaitanya, whereas in the next 5, I have described the glory of Lord Nityananda.
Next verse. आरद्वी श्लोके अद्वैत तत्व व्याख्यान. आर एक श्लोके पंच तत्वेरा व्याख्यान.
Translation. The next two verses describe the truth of Advaita Prabhu, and the following verse describes the Panchatattva, the Lord, his plenary portion, his incarnation, his energies, and his devotees. Hare Krishna.
Yes. ये 14 श्लोके करी मंगलाचरण.
ये 14 श्लोके करी मंगलाचरण.
અહીં મધ્યે કહી સબ વસ્તુ નિરૂપણ.
અહીં મધ્યે કહી સબ વસ્તુ નિરૂપણ.
These 14 verses therefore offer auspicious invocations and describe the supreme truth.
सब श्रोता वैष्णवेरा करी नमस्कार.
सब श्रोता वैष्णवेरा करी नमस्कार.
ये सब श्लोकेरा करी अर्थ विचार.
ये सब श्लोकेरा करी अर्थ विचार.
Translation. I offer my obeisances unto all my Vaishnava readers as I begin to explain the intricacies of all these verses.
So he has already offered benedictions that may that Lord be resplendent within your heart. Now he's offering obeisances. Actually, anyone who is enthusiastic to discuss about Lord Chaitanya is already a blessed soul. So if anyone, even if he's like a degraded meat eater, animalistic man, if he has a little bit of desire to understand Lord Chaitanya, he's already delivered from this world. He's already on a platform of pure devotion. Therefore, we offer our obeisances. Just like there's a story that comes, this, I think Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to give this story, or I think Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Yeah, Bhakti Vinod Thakur gives this story in Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, that once Lord Garuda caught a snake and he started flying. He caught the snake somewhere near Navadvip, and he started flying to enjoy his meal somewhere else. So so during the process, the snake was struggling to get out of Garuda's hands, and the tail of the snake touched Mother Ganges in Navadvip. But Mother Ganges is very special near Navadvip. She is benedicted with pure love of Mahaprabhu. So as soon as the snake's tail touched the water, it turned into a 4-handed Narayana Murti. And then Lord Garuda took him on his back, offered him obeisances, took him on his back, and flew back to Vaikuntha. So, and that was just because the snake touched the water where Lord Chaitanya took bath. So if someone is trying to understand Lord Chaitanya in his heart, then how much more pure will he be? So that is the position. Therefore, we offer obeisances to anyone who wants to understand these Bhagavad literatures. Because sooner or later he will be a pure devotee. His contamination is finished the day he desired to understand Bhagavad literatures. His past karma may continue for some time. He may continue suffering. He may continue suffering for many births. But his path of purity is now completely open. So, considering that spiritual life means there is no time factor, we already offer our obeisances. And also, keeping in mind the instructions of the Lord, we act accordingly. So, we understand that in his present condition, he appears to be degraded. So, we maintain our distinction. But within the heart, we offer complete obeisances. Yes. Text 31, Prabhu. Sakala Vaishnava Shuna Kari Ekamana
Sakala Vaishnava
Sakala Vaishnava Sunakari
Ekamana
Ekamana
Chaitanya Krishnera Shastra Mata Nirupana.
Chaitanya Krishnera
Chaitanya
Shastra
Krishnera
Mata
Shastra Mata
Nirupana.
Nirupana. Translation.
Translation.
I request all my Vaishnava readers to read and hear with rapt attention this narration of Sri Krishna Chaitanya as inculcated in the revealed scriptures. Lord Chaitanya is a purport. Lord Chaitanya is the absolute truth, Krishna himself. This is substantiated by evidence from the authentic spiritual scriptures. Sometimes people accept a man as God on the basis of their whimsical sentiments and without reference to the revealed scriptures. But the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita proves all his statements by citing the Shastras. Thus, he establishes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, even though we are talking about very high sentiments here, everything must be on the basis of scriptures. In this material nature, see what is a sentiment eventually? It's just a it's just an expression of soul's desires. So if the material soul is engaged, I mean, if the soul is engaged in material activities, he'll experience material sentiments. If he's in transcendental activities, he'll experience transcendental sentiments. But actually, material or spiritual, we are experiencing only on the basis of the conditionings. So in this material world also, we feel happy, we feel unhappy. As a soul, we are inferior, we are under the influence of material nature. Therefore, the expression remains the same. Even though the expression is inferior in nature, we cannot perceive it. We are not able to perceive it. Therefore, before we try to experience spiritual sentiment, we must purify ourselves. There must be no trace of materialism when we are trying to understand the Lord and his activities. Janma karma chame divyam. These are divya, transcendental. Therefore, before we express our emotions for the Lord, we must completely understand who he is. So therefore, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is citing scriptural references. Not that because I say Lord Chaitanya is the Lord, you should worship. No, the scriptures are agreeing to it. Sadhus are agreeing to it. Shruti, Smriti, Purana Adi, Pancharatra Vidhim Vina, Ekantiki Harer Bhaktir, Utpat Eva Kalpate. It will become an Utpat. So all these apasampradayas like Aula, Baula, Kartabhaj, Chudadhari, all these sampradayas, they did worship Lord Chaitanya, but they neglected the scriptural studies. Therefore, they all became sexual deviants. One has to be very careful. The influence of material energy is still there. Nikate stha Maya tare japatiya dhare. Maya is still standing there. So, Krishnera bahir mukhaya bhogavansha kare. Nikate stha Maya tara japatiya dhare. We may be sitting next to Lord Chaitanya, but as soon as there is even a trace of materialism in our heart, Maya will capture us. Therefore, we have to remove everything. We must understand the Lord intellectually first. Then we should try to experience any emotion. Yes, maybe one last verse we can take for today. Krishna Guru Bhakta Shakti Avatara Prakash.
Krishna Guru
Krishna
Bhakta
Guru Bhakta
Shakti
Shakti
Avatara
Avatara
Prakash.
Prakash.
Krishna ei chhaya rupe karena vilasa.
Krishna e chaya
Krishna
rupe
Chaya
karena
Rupe
vilasa.
Karena Vilasa.
Translation. Lord Krishna enjoys by manifesting himself as the spiritual masters, the devotees, the divine energies, the incarnations, and the plenary portions. They're all six in one.
Hari, Hari. So you see. Ah, So spiritual master, devotee, energy, incarnation, and plenary portions. Actually, aham sarvasya prabhava mattah sarvam pravartate. The Lord is saying everything is emanating from me. So how can anything be different from Krishna actually? The more a devotee advances in spiritual life, the more he's able to perceive Krishna everywhere. And the more we chant actually, the more we'll perceive this truth. Eichhaya tatvera kari charana vandana.
Eichhaya tatvera kari charana vandana.
Prathame samanya kari mangalacharana.
Pratame
Samanya kari mangalacharana. Translation. I therefore worship the lotus feet of these six diversities of the one truth by invoking their benedictions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. So this is a Vedic etiquette, Actually, if you see, now we don't see so much in India anymore. When we were small children, our parents taught us that we should offer obeisances to everyone. We should, like in North India, now of course everyone is like completely rude across India, but in North India, if we saw anyone elder, we used to say namaste. And then in 1985, when I traveled to South India, there also I saw everybody used to say namaskaram. Now, of course, nobody says anything. Now nobody even acknowledge anybody else. So we have become like animals. Even though we are now technologically more advanced, we are actually civilizationally we are becoming animals. So previously we didn't have technology, money so much, but we were culturally very advanced. Indian culture was very advanced. Now it's all gone. So before we try to understand all these realities, we offer them our obeisances. I therefore worship the lotus feet of the six diversities of the one truth by invoking their benedictions. So before we even try to understand, we offer our obeisances. When we ring the doorbell, someone opens the door, we say namaste, namaskar, Hare Krishna. We don't say hello, open the door, okay, I am coming, please explain. No, we offer obeisances. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina sattvadarshina. So approach a bona fide spiritual master, render service to him. So first we render service, then we expect knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Thank
So,
you, Prabhuji.
yes, Prabhu, shall we stop here today?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Because next verse is very interesting one. From next verse, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami starts deeper explanations of the first 14 verses. So, it's going to be very nice.
So the pattern is going like this. First, the verses are spoken, then Krishnadas Kaviraj giving like a very objective explanation of all, what are these verses about, and then he gives the detailed explanation of all those verses. A very different approach.
Yes.
Actually, he's
Sri
doing
Chaitanya
this
Charitam.
translation and
Yes,
purports
Prabhu?
in subsequent verses. ऐसा लग रहा है.
Yeah, actually, it's Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's purports that we are discussing. So, like they say that Shukdev Goswami, like when Bhagavatam came out of his mouth, it became even sweeter. So, just like that, Chaitanya Charitamrita is already sweet, but when it comes out of the words of mouth of Srila Prabhupada, it becomes even sweeter.
Correct.
Mahaprabhu's pastimes were sweet. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami made them sweeter, and Srila Prabhupada made them still sweeter.
So as it is passed on from one pure devotee to another pure devotee, it becomes more and more nectarian.
Yeah.
Of course, the condition is should be passed on from one pure devotee to another pure devotee, of course.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, एक doubt है. Prabhupada says in multiple lectures that Bhagavad Gita is like ABCD, or rather it's a graduation course. Bhagavatam is like post-graduation. and Chaitanya Charitamrita is like PhD, doctoral thesis.
Yes. Yes.
So now I'm just trying to relate this point with what you mentioned little earlier. That one is where the Lord said, where the other one is where what the Lord did, and the last one is what the Lord thought. तो
Yes.
ये जो PhD जब बोलते हैं means we are trying to get deeper and deeper into one specific aspect of a subject.
Yes.
So of course I do agree that bhakti is the theme, the recurring theme in Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. But what is that specific aspect of Chaitanya Charitamrita which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wants us to learn about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or about his pastimes?
So, yeah, Prabhu. So, if we take a very like a materialistic analogy in this sense, Prabhu, like for example, we study engineering. Prabhu, like you studied engineering. For example, let's take mechanical engineering, which you studied. In mechanical engineering, in second year, you studied theory of machines. What are links and sliders and cranks, mechanisms, velocity, acceleration of mechanisms, motion of mechanisms, velocity, acceleration. You studied all of this. And in 4 years, you studied all the aspects of mechanical engineering, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, material sciences. You studied all of those. And then you realize that actually you cannot be a designer after studying bachelor's of engineering. You can understand how things work. You have a deeper understanding than a technician, but you still couldn't design really. You have to study masters, where you study advanced mathematics, where you study more subtleties. But in the masters, you realize that if you really want to get into the depth of a subject, you need a PhD. Like for example, if you want to design a clutch plate, in our engineering bachelors, we just study the basic equations. Okay, we study an integral formula which describes the friction force acting from the center of the plate to the periphery of the plate. We integrate the whole force, and then we calculate the force of what we call the force of friction, which joins the shaft, one shaft to another. But in the masters, you actually study you study tribology. You actually understand how friction actually works. But in PhD, you combine the study of material sciences with tribology. You combine that with thermodynamics to understand how material responds to the variation of pressure, variation of temperature, how it actually changes. So if something like as simple as a simple clutch plate has to be designed, you actually need a doctoral thesis. So it's the same thing, but the understanding keeps on getting more layered, more nuanced, and more subtle. And of course, very deep. So bhakti is also like this. In Bhagavad Gita, we understand that we are not this body, we are the soul. We have to worship the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we see practical example of how Lord is worshipped. What are the subtleties in remembering the Lord? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna ended by saying, Sarva dharmana parityajya mama ekam sharanam raja. In Bhagavatam, we see the surrendered devotees and how they acted. Bhagavatam is all explanation of Maharaj Chitraketu, Narad Muni, Vyasadev, Gajendra, so many pastimes of surrendered devotees. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, we are seeing what those devotees experienced. So in 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, we studied the mood of gopis. We saw their separation from Krishna, their meeting of Krishna. We saw all of that. Now in Chaitanya Charitamrita, what those gopis experienced, that will be described. So we are specifically taking the 10th canto of Bhagavatam and we're specializing in that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because we are not discussing the emotions that Gajendra felt or Chitraketu felt or anyone else felt. We are discussing what gopis felt and gopas felt. Because there are gopis and gopas both in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is PhD. That's why it is called PhD study. I hope I've been able to express.
Yes, Prabhu. Certainly, certainly. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so we stop here. We can continue tomorrow maybe. Tomorrow also I'm like quite free.